As part of the Wedding Trend Report for 2018, we're hooking up with some wedding professionals to talk to them about the trends that they're seeing locally here in France and globally around the world. And the first step, we're talking to some hair and makeup specialists. Emma, who is a hairstylist. Emma, tell us where you're from.
I'm from the UK, but I've been based in France for the last 6 years, which we've been travelling around working with international brides from all over the world, which has been a really good experience for us to get a feel for what brides are looking for globally.
And your company?
My company, I work for Brides in France as well, which we are a online resource bringing UK and French suppliers together so that international couples can find English-speaking suppliers.
Which is
France.
Obviously hugely important with language barriers and what have you.
Communicate what you're looking for.
Perfect. And then we've also got Claire, who is our makeup specialist. Claire, tell us where you're from.
Well, I'm originally British, but been living in France for almost a decade now. Lived in Paris for a while. Thank you. Birthday coming up soon. Lived in Paris for a while, and they've moved into the Poitou-Charentes.
Yeah.
Much more rural, but all the chateaux are here.
Yes, quite.
And it's glorious, beautiful.
Yeah, there's nothing not to love, really, is there?
Exactly.
So obviously, if you've been living in Paris as well, you'll have seen some very different things happening there to what you would see here in rural France.
Yeah, there is a very different divide. In Paris, you've got Paris is known for being chic and its women being terribly chic. And I think wedding makeup and hair is more slick in Paris. Whereas we're the more historic chateau down here, so we're much more romantic vibe.
Yeah, so it's a completely different look.
Absolutely.
And where do you go to get your inspiration from? And we were chatting off camera before about different things that you do in order to find out what the different trends are, not just here, but globally.
Well, most of the time, the internet is a massive resource. It's constantly being updated, and it's really good to keep that research going all year round, because trends do change as the year progresses. But more importantly, the catwalk shows give us all we need to know. The designers have an idea. They basically push those trends in hair and makeup. Exactly. And we've seen some really interesting trends coming off the catwalks in the New York Bridal show this year.
Ah, okay. Can you give me some examples?
Yeah, well, you're looking, as always, for a lovely, fresh, flawless base.
Yeah.
Everyone wants that. It's timeless, year in, year out. But this year particularly, we've seen Justin Alexander and Reem Acra really go for a bold eye for a bridal look. But then you again got Jenny Packham, who's doing a much fresher face with lovely rosy pink cheeks and a softer gold across the eyelid, which you're seeing with Ines de Santo as well, with her brides. So I think when we're talking at wedding trends here, for this part of France, the more rural, more historic areas, we're going for a more romantic look. So we will probably be looking at the softer golds and that fresher look.
It's going to be more popular, and it's going to work in better with the chateaus, isn't it?
Exactly.
And the feel of your venue.
And this is changing slowly, because over the last few years it has been a much bolder look that's been coming really driven from the UK and the USA, following the success of the Kardashians.
Yeah, of course.
But this year, and I've certainly seen it emerging through 2017, that bridal makeup is softening, that brows are not as heavy and bold.
Okay, because we've gone through that area really with the really heavy brows, and they kind of takes over the whole look.
It had its moment, and you know, and it has looked great for some brides. It's looked fabulous, and it has really suited their ideas and their look that they're looking for.
But it's quite distinctive, isn't it?
Well,
exactly, and quite harsh contouring as well. But slowly through 2017, more brides have been asking for a softer look. They want the contouring without it being really noticeable. And it is classy, and it's classic, and it's elegant, and we're really seeing a push back to French elegance here for next year.
Ties in with the themes of the chateaux and the outdoor rustic weddings.
And of course, we have so many chateaux here in France that we can choose from. But with things like makeup, is there anything that you need to consider? For example, being in rural France where we are, weddings in the summer, it's hot.
Humidity.
Hugely hot.
It's humidity, it's the intense heat. This June we had the hottest
44 degrees.
Hottest June
That's
since
like
1958.
Sweating, the hair's getting wet around the hairline.
Yeah.
So it's really trying to
You need to make sure that the makeup that I'm using my kit is probably not the most inexpensive. However, you get what you pay for. Yeah. I'm using Guerlain and Dior because they work really well in the heat. They don't melt, they don't run, they don't fade. I have brides contacting me after their wedding going, it was still there at 6 o'clock in the morning, even though it was like 40 degrees outside and we were dancing and kissing and hugging and having a great time and eating, and it didn't move, and I can't thank you enough. And it's really important because you want your look to last you throughout the day. You don't want to keep going back and touching up all the time because it's running away or it's melting. So yeah, you really have to think about the quality of the products and whether they are specifically formulated for exotic climates. And I would say France in a really hot summer can be classed as exotic.
Yeah, and as you say, it's the humidity as well, isn't it? Now obviously from a hair perspective, it can cause absolute nightmares as well.
Monica at Friends comes to mind. You know, you get it all slick and
the
it
big
comes
frizz.
up.
Yeah,
Again,
I
I
do
work
that.
with Red Ken. Red Ken is brilliant for humidity and keeping it, and having hairsprays and lacquers that aren't too heavy as well, so the hair can still move, not kind of solid. So yeah, working with the right products and prepping the hair well is key to keeping that hair lasting all day.
So talking about hair, now we're chatting to you, what trends are you seeing come through from the hair perspective for 2018?
With hair, I find it a little different slightly in the experience that I've had here, is that trends come in, but they can be quite kind of severe on the catwalk. But if we can incorporate some of those trends and put them into a classic style, and sort of create a hairstyle to obviously suit the bride, and suit the dress, suit the venue, and their face, and just to bringing some of those, like for example vintage, you know, the harsh finger wave, but actually if you just have a soft kind of finger wave just coming into a style,
you're still bringing in that trend, but in a softer way that's a little bit more appropriate for
and
bridal wear.
Braiding has been coming in, coming out, and we've seen some of these trends coming and going sort of from year after year, just as it's going, it comes back in.
Well, it came in, didn't it, when you had the Hunger Games released, and you always find this, as soon as you talk about anything to do with pop culture, any Hollywood movies, there's often a movie each year that tends to inspire a look or a trend.
Well, we had 2 years
and that's where the braids came from.
Frozen, the cartoon, you know, and that was all the, you know, the kind of silvery looking dresses, the side braids.
We had a few of those.
We had a Frozen bride, had an Elsa bride.
Isn't it funny how even something like that, a film which is essentially a cartoon, can actually inspire brides? And the Hunger Games also inspired a lot of things like woodland weddings, because obviously it was set in various different places,
which is
but there was
here, you could have your wedding outdoors.
Yeah, so it really does work like that.
But with Megan,
you've got Megan here. We need to bring her into the conversation.
With Megan, with most brides, obviously in general, we do try to keep it quite soft because and timeless, because you're going to look back at the trends over years and go, what was I thinking?
You mean like the meringue dress?
Yeah, we've all done it.
But wedding photos are with you for a long time,
aren't they? And well, hopefully, yes.
Which is why it's a good idea to incorporate the styles. But obviously, again, you're trying to think about the venue as a whole. So braiding has been a thing that is come back in definitely and will be staying in for 2018. And if you just want to turn around for me, Megan, we've created kind of a soft style that's elegant, that comes in to kind of a French chateau elegant theme, with the soft natural makeup. But we have incorporated braids but pulled them out, kept it a little bit messy, not too polished.
It's not so tight and severe.
And nothing too kind of tight to the head as well. We like to give it some volume, get some body. Flowers are still in this year, so we can pop some nice flowers in the hair and just make it very soft. But obviously within the detailing, especially with Megan's got highlights, so you can show up the style a little bit more. So it's always quite good to think about the colour of the hair.
More, doesn't it?
And obviously there's chic, very sleek ponytails that are in on the catwalk. Yeah. It is a beautiful style if you wanted to go for something like that, but it's not
a very
ever
distinct look,
isn't
it? Yeah.
And obviously back to the chignons, your basic sleek low buns at the back. They're all in again for next year. There's so much that you can do, but with this, just keeping it soft. A lot of brides, especially this last season, have wanted their hair down with the soft waves, beachy waves, but it does tend to, especially in this heat in France, they can drop out. You can't, with all the right products, even against the weather, that's your hardest.
Things you can't do
Elements
anything about.
Are difficult to fight.
They are, basically.
Especially with hair.
But also, when you're hot and you're perspiring a little bit, it's nice to
You don't
have
want
the
it all
hair
round the
off
back,
your neck.
do you?
So again, upstyling is back in for next year.
It really is.
Which is good, and especially for me, because once you leave your bride, again, you're going to, like Claire said,
It's not going to move.
It's not going to move, and you get the photos back there dancing in the evening and stuff like that. So it's still in place.
It's more practical, isn't it?
Exactly.
For
I think so.
the entire day, rather than the down look, which, as you say, can really be affected by weather and the elements.
So yes, the hair upstyling is definitely come back. But if you're a bride that's quite nervous about having your hair pulled away from your face and you're used to it being down, you can still have an upstyle that maybe has a lot more loose pieces around the face, a lot more wavy, so it's again just feels like it's fuller, and having some tendrils around and having some loose bits out the back, that makes you feel then you're not so naked and it's there.
Yeah, so it just gives them
Very
that little
good
bit more
point.
confidence, doesn't it? So Claire, obviously you've done some makeup here for us.
Yeah,
Talk us through
we've
the
just
look.
gone for this time. It's really to echo what I was talking to you about earlier about the French elegance, the softness for the historic chateaux, etc. A bit of a shout out to Jenny Packham and her fresh pink cheek and the flawless base and the softer eye look, really, because it really does suit the French chateau.
And
Or
it's
even the
very
French
elegant,
country
isn't it?
wedding.
It really is.
And it's timeless. And it's one that when you do open your photo album in 30, 40 years' time with your grandchildren, you'll look back and go, gosh, that hasn't aged. That look hasn't aged. And I'm so glad that I went for this.
Rather
and
than
I didn't
something more
follow.
dominant.
Yeah, because on the catwalks again, I'm back to the catwalks because
It's where you get your
your
inspiration. Yeah.
a lot of red lipstick. And it works in certain environments.
I was going to say, but for
And
this
it doesn't
sort of
work on everybody. Meghan has got such a beautiful English rose complexion that a bright red lipstick just probably isn't going to work
would
for
look
her.
all wrong, wouldn't it?
Especially for a bridal look. So keeping it nice and neutral has been the way forward with today's makeup.
And you obviously find as well, sorry Claire, but when you get like brides coming in now and they want the trends, they sort of think about what their everyday makeup is, or if they're going out to a club. But you sort of, when it comes to bridal, you do need to tone it down slightly. Have enough on to obviously for the photos and to make you have a flawless look. But when
No, it's really important that you don't confuse evening occasion makeup with a bridal makeup, because going out to nightclub
It's
not the
look,
same.
isn't it?
It is. It's a bit full on for a
red
for a
lipstick
romantic look.
works a lot better for that sort of thing.
It does. It's brilliant.
it was brilliant
and,
with the vintage style.
And I've had brides
Yes.
who've said to me, I want something quite neutral on my lips, but I've bought this red lipstick and I'm going to put it on tonight when it gets dark. Great, because in the
So two
evening,
looks.
in the photographs
Yeah.
as well, it looks, and just that subtle difference. It's a lipstick that can change an entire look.
It's funny, isn't it? Just one pop of colour
And
that
exactly.
changes the entire thing. It's exactly the same within design as well. One pop of colour, one change of element, and all of a sudden it's an entirely different look and feel.
Exactly.
And Claire and I have also offered an all-day service, so brides have kept us on for the day, and then once they've done the cocktails and their meal, we can then change it up for the evening. They sometimes change their dress, and then that's when you can build up your
Which
makeup
is
and
a
then
trend
loosen the
that we've
hair a bit
seen
more.
and more recently.
It's becoming more and more popular, actually, to keep your stylist on later on in the day to revisit your look and actually give it that weightier evening look.
And it's also been very good because we get a lot of cultures coming, different cultures of brides, and we get a lot of Asian brides travelling over from China, and in their kind of tradition that they have like 5 to 10 dress changes. So their day is like a pageantry show, so they're having lots of different hair and makeup looks throughout the day.
See, that's a different trend entirely from what we're used to.
And quite often the dresses are different colours, so we're trying
got
to
to
match
pick up
the
the
makeup
colours
and the hair exactly,
from
and
the
try
dress.
and make a single base work with lots of different outfits.
Excellent.
Fun.
Well, you guys have been full of incredible tips and advice and obviously trends and what have you. Now, I believe you've also got another look for us as well.
We're going to come back and this is obviously a very beautiful, romantic, soft bridal look. But obviously there are brides that just want a little bit more. So we're going to zhuzh her up a little bit and bring her out with something different.
I think we're just going to go, we can't just focus on Jenny Packham. There are other designers. But it'd be quite nice to look at the bolder eye along the lines of Remacra, so Justin
Perfect.
Alexander.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it, ladies.